Movie starts, so we see a boy named Richard. He visits his older sister, Natalie. After the separation of their parents, they also got separated. Now both spend time together and talk a lot. Natalie becomes depressed as she talks about breakup with her boyfriend. So Richard tries to make him laugh. Now Richard can't sleep at night because of the sound of music coming from outside. So he goes to Natalie's room, where Natalie finds him alone sad. Seeing Richard, Natalie kisses him but later apologizes for her mistake. Then the next day Richard starts going back to his house, so he forgot his wallet at Natalie's house. So Richard tells him by phone, so Natalie comes to the station to give her wallet. Here she says him to keep calling him all the time. After this 1 year passes, but Richard doesn't call Natalie. One day when Natalie calls him, so Richard is getting intimate with his secretary, so says her to call later. But just like that 6 years pass, so one day Richard gets a call from Natalie again. She tells about her marriage. She also calls him to meet her husband, Sinclair. A few days later when Richard goes there, so he learns that Natalie married a big businessman after her business failed. Natalie introduces Richard to her husband, where together they also celebrate Natalie's birthday. Here, seeing the beauty of Natalie, Richard starts getting attracted to her. A few days later when Natalie goes to his house, so Richard tries to get intimate by kissing her, so Natalie stops him and denies it all. But Richard does not stop and starts touching her again and again. So finally they become intimate. After this, when Natalie starts going home, she says Richard not to do anything like this in the future. She says him into going on a picnic with Sinclair. And when they go on a picnic, Richard keeps seeing Natalie and clicks the many photos. Tries to touch Natalie when he gets the chance. So Natalie says him to meet at Sinclair's flat, which has been vacant for a long time. Then at night Natalie gets intimate with Sinclair and lies to him that she is going out for office work for a few days. Natalie and Richard now live together and are often intimate. One day Natalie gets a call from Sinclair, so she lies that she found a hotel to stay. That is what has stopped. But Sinclair doubts her, so he calls all the hotels and inquires about her. But Natalie does not find him in any hotel. After Natalie returns, Sinclair does not say anything to her and behaves normally. Richard goes to a hotel one day to get intimate with a girl, where when he gets a call from Natalie, he tells that he has come to the hotel room with a girl. So Natalie starts crying after disconnecting the call. And the very next day she meets Richard and says him to stop all this, and says focuses on his work. One day Richard comes to meet Natalie at her house, so he finds Sinclair, who tells him that Natalie is not at home. After this both go for a walk outside. So there Sinclair tells Richard that he doubts Natalie is having an affair. Hearing this, Richard thinks what happened if Sinclair finds out about their affair. After some time when both of them come back home, she tells Richard that in a few days both of them are shifting from here to another place. Richard says Natalie to stay elsewhere, but Natalie doesn't agree and Richard starts crying. He tries to commit suicide after coming home because he was in love with Natalie. But Natalie reaches in time and saves him and makes him understand a lot how wrong he is doing. Natalie invites Richard to a party at her house. Then a few days later Richard goes to the party, so he drinks a lot. He then takes Natalie away from the party. Natalie desperately tries to escape, but Richard catches her and angers her. After some time they come back to the party. So, seeing their condition, everyone understands that something has definitely happened between them. Sinclair also doubts an affair between them, but he doesn't ask anything here and takes both and comes out of here. After this movie ends here. It is not told that Richard and Natalie continued the affair, or Sinclair came to know about them, or Sinclair knew about their affair and did nothing about it. The movie ends on an unresolved point, but the movie shows the illegitimate relationship between brother and sister. Friends, if you want to press the like button for the hard work of making our videos, then you must do so. We'd love it.